Hello, everyone. Welcome to Faculty Spotlights for the College of Professional Psychology at the Chicago School. I'm Lance Garrison. I'm Dean of the College, and I am here today with Dr. Cynthia Lubin Langtiw, Clinical Psychology faculty member in Chicago. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very happy that you're here. So, Dr. Lubin Langtiw, can you share a little bit about your background and what it is that brought you to the Chicago School?
Sure. So first of all, I'm a Haitian American clinical and community psychologist. And I say that I come by the community piece honestly. Like in my
Mhm.
culture, when you ask folks how they're doing, you always ask about them and their people. So I
Yeah.
think that relationship between ourselves and our community and how integral they are was woven into me from the very beginning. I came to the Chicago School. I'm actually a proud alum of the Clinical PsyD Chicago program. And the reason I came to the Chicago School in particular was because at the time, the focus on diversity was one that was really unique
Yeah.
and that it was woven into all aspects of the work that we do and the courses that we take. And I knew at the time how important that would be for the kind of work that I saw myself doing. And so the focus on diversity, the excellent faculty brought me as a student. And then what brought me back, right, as a faculty member were the very same things. As I was out myself as a supervisor in the field, I saw how excellent the Chicago School students were. And when a faculty position became available, I also knew that I wanted to be part of the teaching and the training of future psychologists. And the
Yeah.
place to do it for me was the Chicago School.
Wonderful. It's one of the things that I really love about the Chicago School as well. Um, I think that most higher education institutions talk about the importance of diversity. Certainly we do, but in a lot of ways, it feels more real here, right? We have a big, diverse group of clinical psychology faculty. We have a big, diverse group of clinical psychology students. And then the understanding and the training in diversity really is kind of woven into the fabric of the curriculum in a meaningful and really important way.
Absolutely.
So you touched, oh, go ahead, please.
And I would say one of the things that's been impressive to me in my tenure at the Chicago School, from student to supervisor to faculty, has been the evolution of the
Hmm.
focus on diversity from what I understood as primarily working with folks here in the US to the global focus that has
Hmm.
been so beautifully, housed in all of our classrooms, but then also across the world in our study abroad and the other connections that we have
Yeah.
globally.
Yeah. And I love that we do study abroad for our graduate programs. I think that's pretty rare and maybe even unique in the higher education landscape for graduate programs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's
Yeah.
been really exciting to see that evolution of our understanding and exchange and collaboration across the world around
Yeah.
diversity.
Yeah, really beautiful. So you touched on this a little bit, but what areas of teaching or research or clinical practice are you most passionate about these days?
Yeah, so I am a systems thinker. I'm interested in how folks are doing individually, but I'm also interested in how we're connected meaningfully with the people that we love, with the communities that we love, and helping not just individuals, but couples, families, communities be well. So those
Yeah.
are all areas of interest of mine as a systems thinker, as a community psychologist. The other thing that's really important for me is also thinking about the role of uh, immigrant mental health, right? And so a large part of my practice is immigrant mental health, and I help all communities all over the world,
Hmm.
immigrant communities all over the world, be well and support organizations that are doing that kind of work as well.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to a follow-up question, and maybe you can go a little bit deeper because you're talking about impact. And I think really the focus of community psychology really is meaningful impact in communities. But how do you see the work that you do impacting students and broader communities?
Yeah, yeah. And for me, oh, that's such a great question. So I see it in the classroom. right? I see the interest in immigrant mental health, right? Not
Mhm.
just for students who are interested in working with immigrants, but students across the board. I was just in a presentation yesterday, right? It was a pediatric neuropsychological presentation, which isn't an area of my expertise, but I was really interested in the speaker who was coming. And they were talking about the importance of the role of understanding, a young person's experience of
Yeah.
their parents, immigrant status on their neuropsychological function. So I know that that is woven into every aspect of what we do, and the importance of really making sure that we are thinking broadly and intersectionally about
Yeah.
the issues that are before our clients and our
Yeah.
students.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did some, excuse me, in my time in grad school, I did some work in that area looking at an orthogonal model of acculturation in adolescence. And as I got into that research and looked at data, it was fascinating. And I wasn't thinking about it from a neuropsychological perspective, but you're placed into this context that really is cognitively, emotionally, and socially challenging. So I can see there being some really profound neuropsychological implications of that experience.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about teaching, about being in the
Yeah,
classroom, right? I'm teaching and I have, the expertise in the areas that I bring in, but then my students bring in these
yeah,
new and important issues, and we get to have that collaboration and that rethinking around it. And so I love that, right? That
yeah,
my students are bringing in cases with issues that I haven't necessarily thought about, but I can think about my experiences both in the classroom and in the community and bring some of those transferable knowledges to some of the new areas that they're bringing to the table, and we learn together, right?
yeah,
And that's one of the things that excites me the most about being in the classroom.
yeah. There are a lot of great jobs across the landscape, but I remember my time as a faculty member thinking, God, this might be the best job ever.
Yeah,
Because where else do you get paid
yeah,
to read things that deepen your knowledge, things that you're exciting about, and have really meaningful conversations with students who are deeply interested in this as well? And I found that it was some of the most formative time I had as a professional because
yeah,
it really does accelerate your understanding and your learning in ways that it's hard to find anywhere else.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
So I know you were a student at the Chicago School, proud alum, as you said, and now
Yeah.
you're a faculty member. What is
Yeah.
it? What do you think makes the Chicago School unique or especially valuable to students?
Such a great question. I think about this all the time. Certainly, the intersection of our amazing, excellent, diverse in perspective, diverse in experience faculty,
Yeah.
coupled with a group of students that, year in, year out, come really prepared to think about not just how to do this work,
Hmm.
but how to change the world,
Yeah.
right? And to be a part of the change that is happening,
Yeah.
right, towards global wellness, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, our specific approach to that, right, and our attention to issues of diversity from long ago and the evolution of that to the global context, as I was talking about, our ability to sit with complexity
Hmm.
as a diverse faculty and invite our students into those conversations around complexity,
Yeah.
right, are so important. And I think that all of that together makes our program unique. And, we are a clinical PsyD program. One of the areas of interest of mine, so, immigrant mental health is certainly one of them. But on a research note, those who know me know if you say qualitative research, my ears will perk up and I'll go over. But I'm really interested not just in qualitative research, although I am, and I go down deep, deep rabbit holes. I teach that course here in our program along with some other wonderful faculty. But what really excites me as a clinical and community psychologist is to be able to ask really great questions from my perch, from my unique perspective and everything that I've come together,
Yeah.
right? That's been brought together for me in my personal and professional and all kinds of lives. and to be able to ask a really good question and to be able to have the tools to answer them. And I'm so proud that in our program in particular, that we've crafted a curriculum that really allows students to be able to do that, that I think is not just unique to a clinical PsyD program, but to programs in clinical psychology. So we have a required research methods course, and then we also have a required qualitative research methods course. And so our students really have a broad sense of how to ask a really great question of our field and feel confident in the tools to be able to answer them. And I feel like that's a feather in our hat. I'm so proud of that. And our commitment as a faculty to really supporting our students in that. We know many of them are not going to be out there as clinical faculty or researchers, but some of them will, right? And that aside, they'll be out there in the field as clinical psychologists who are tasked with understanding the right question to ask in order to be able to gather the appropriate data to come up with a, full assessment of what's happening. And I know that our research courses really offer them that, and I'm so proud of that. So I think that's one of the things that makes our program really unique.
One of many, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone out there, a prospective student who's considering joining a clinical psychology program like the one there in Chicago?
Yeah. I would say trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your experience. Trust the questions that keep you up at night. And trust your ability, right? To seek out ways to answer them. There are ways that as I was speaking about before, the experiences that you have and bring together are unique. And there are really important questions that you have that only you can bring together and answer. There are unique experiences that you've had, right, that can help you have the kind of lens that you can take back to your community and to help and support. So I would say that, trust yourself. Trust your gut and this question and this quest that you have to make an impact on the world, and to know that there are many, many ways to do that, but being a clinical psychologist is one of the wonderful ways to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start, right? Trust yourself. You have a lot to offer, so believe in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Lubin Langtiw, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed our time together.
You as well. Thank you for having me. And to prospective students, the students who are already here, best wishes in your discernment and in your path. And I know you'll make a difference in the world no matter what it is that you choose to do.